Do you remember Fyre Festival? What really went wrong with that? And is there really gonna be a Fyre Festival 2? Now this story all starts with this guy, Billy. And Billy's around 23 years old during this time, and he's an entrepreneur whose credit card business is failing. So one day in 2016, he comes up with a new business idea. He's gonna start a company to build an app that lets people book celebrities and famous musicians for events. And to help him out with this idea, for some reason, he partners with known rapper Ja Rule.
One of the problems that we're really tackling is the nasty business of booking.
And so Billy and Ja Rule get this insane idea to promote their app and attract investors into their company. They decide to put on a big music festival on a small island, and they're gonna call it Fyre Festival. And of course, they've never put on a music fest before, much less one of this size, but whatever. They're gonna go for it. And so Billy and Ja Rule get to work. They fly all the way over to the Bahamas to scout locations for this festival. Here's actually a picture of the two of them in the Bahamas. And Billy specifically has to get investors involved because that's kind of his specialty. So over the next year, he starts misleading these investors to get them to invest in his idea. And he falsifies financial statements to back up these lies. He starts making deals based on bank loans he doesn't have. He lies about selling his old credit card business for a bunch of money when that never happened. He's even promising investors they'll get payouts from insurance policies if the festival gets canceled when the guy never bought event cancellation insurance like ever. And so, after hearing all these lies, investors are like, sure, I'll invest. And they start handing Billy tons of money to put into his business and to this music festival. And he apparently ends up raising over $26 million. And of course, Billy isn't putting all of this money into his business or into the festival. He's spending a lot of it on himself. Like he gets himself a Manhattan penthouse apartment, he starts taking chauffeured luxury cars and private jets, he's partying a lot, because I guess he really likes to party with and be seen with celebrities, like here he is hanging out with Waka Flocka Flame. And what money he doesn't spend on himself, he uses to hire a bunch of famous supermodels, including Bella Hadid, Emily Ratajkowski, and Alessandra Judge. I'm not very familiar with supermodels, but he flies these women on a private plane out to the Bahamas and he pays them to do promotional shoots for his upcoming Fyre Fest. And these models post it on their Instagrams and shit, like, look at how much fun this is gonna be. Billy also pays a bunch of attractive model influencer types to post about Fyre Fest too. Apparently they pay Kendall Jenner $275,000 for just one single Instagram post, and this post implies that artists from the Kanye West music label are gonna perform there. And that's a whole other thing. There's supposed to be major music acts there, like Major Lazer is supposed to be there, Disclosure is supposed to perform, Ray Shermand, Migos, Lil Yachty, Blink-182, even Thugfucker is gonna be performing. And I have no idea who Thugfucker is, I just really like that name. Regardless, Billy and Ja Rule's ad campaign and paying models and influencers to promote this fest are a huge success. Around 5,000 people collectively spend tons of money on tickets to come to this thing. The cheapest tickets are like $500 a person. The expensive ones are like $12,000 a person. So Billy and Ja are actually bringing in a bit of money, and suddenly it looks like Billy is some kind of business genius with incredible marketing skills, and he's really gonna pull this off. Until the whole thing starts falling apart. A few weeks before the festival, Billy's company defaults on a nearly $3 million loan, plus a potential investment worth $20 million falls through at the last minute. So now they need money, and the ticket sales alone are not enough to finance this thing. And without actual capital to put this show on, Billy's company starts cutting corners. Like they aren't paying vendors who have already done a bunch of the work, and thus the whole thing devolves into a disorganized train wreck. And to make it worse, days before the big event, the music headliners start canceling and dropping out. Apparently, they don't want to be a part of this. And this is the moment where Billy should stop and give everyone their money back. Investors, people who bought tickets, but of course, that's not what he does. Instead, he assures everyone around him that somehow everything is gonna be fine, and he keeps moving forward as planned. So then, boom, the first weekend of Fyre Fest arrives and thousands of people fly out to attend. But once they get there, they immediately see that this is a disaster. There are no luxury villas for them to stay in like they were promised. Instead, there are old FEMA tents. And a lot of the tents have cheap, soaking wet mattresses from being left out in the rain. Not only that, a bunch of people are stranded just trying to get to the venue. And here's a luxury dining hall that they're all supposed to eat at. Here's a luxury bathroom a bunch of them are expected to share. And instead of the gourmet meals that they were promised, festival attendees are served from a styrofoam container a wet piece of wheat bread with a slice of cheese and a side of lettuce. And here's actually another picture of some food, and here's another. This one's slightly better, but it's still garbage. And just keep in mind that festival tickets range anywhere from $500 to $12,000 a person, and they're eating Wonder Bread and sliced cheese. And so immediately people are pissed. This isn't what they paid for, and they all start flooding social media, posting about this terrible experience.
Right now, we're walking with the squad, trying to find food, like savages. We're walking on the side of the road.
We're worried to get off the boat to go to the island because people have been stranded there and not been able to get back to the boat.
And the internet just fills up with jokes and memes making fun of the whole situation. Then, early the next morning, Fyre Festival official social media accounts post that Fyre Fest has officially been canceled. But that's not the end of it. Because it's easy for us to laugh at a bunch of privileged festival goers who had to eat cheese sandwiches for 3 days, but they're pissed. They feel ripped off, and rightly so. And so, bam, Billy and Ja Rule get sued at least 8 times. Not only that, but remember, investors collectively invested millions of dollars into this, hoping to make a return. Investors who Billy consistently lied to. And typically, lying to investors to get their money is fraud. And so, 3 months later, bam, the FBI arrests Billy. And I don't have his mugshot, but here's an actual picture of him being arrested. But then he gets out on bail and he goes right back to committing fraud, where he starts a new company that sells tickets to exclusive events like the Met Gala, Burning Man, and stuff like that. But the tickets are a scam, and he cons people out of $150,000 before he gets caught again. And so he gets additional fraud charges added to his already existing fraud charges, and ultimately he gets sentenced to 6 years in prison. While Ja Rule, he wasn't charged with anything. I guess he wasn't the one lying to investors, which is the illegal part. So no consequences for him other than just, the public embarrassment. But then, in 2022, Billy gets out of prison, and about a year later, in 2023, he announces Fyre Festival 2.
Good morning, everybody. We just announced on the Today Show that Fyre 2 is taking place April 25th through April 28th.
However, many date and venue changes later, in 2025, Billy puts out a statement saying that Fyre Festival 2 will not be happening anytime soon. I guess they're having trouble finding a venue or something. And also that he's selling the Fyre Festival brand once and for all, which is, that's probably for the best.